Teleprompters are a great way to tighten up your video content to be as focused and concise as you want. In this video, we'll look at the Parrot Teleprompter by Padcaster. I've been using a do-it-yourself teleprompter for a couple of years now and found it much easier to keep my presentations focused and to make my post-production editing much easier. Once you get the hang of writing like you talk, using a teleprompter is a great way to stay on topic and to avoid what I call chasing rabbits in terms of stories or examples that seem relevant at the time but just don't seem to fit when you sit down to edit. The teleprompter also helps in terms of errors and retakes. You can focus your attention on voice inflection and gestures instead of what you're going to say next. My DIY teleprompter was in need of some repair and had some shortcomings, so I thought I'd give this small teleprompter from Padcaster a try. This is the version 2 kit that includes the teleprompter box, lens mounting rings, remote, and glass cleaning kit. What caught my eye in this teleprompter was the small size and nearly universal mounting kit that didn't require any kind of cloth shroud to keep light from behind the teleprompter. There's a free smartphone app to manage scripts, and the narrow width helps keep your eyes close to the side-to-side limits of the lens. This reduces side-to-side movement that can give away you're using a prompter. Let's take a look at what comes in the box and connect to a couple of cameras. So here's the box that the Padcaster comes in. It's a pretty small device, and so it comes in a pretty small box. It's just kind of the basic retail packaging with some of the features and specifications here mounted on the back. So let's take a look and see what's inside. Okay, so in the box we've got a warranty card right here, and then a quick start guide that is, pretty rudimentary, but it's a pretty simple device, so there's not an awful lot to explain. But it shows you the parts that are there and gives you some diagrams on how you're going to want to put this together, plus a little bit of information about the Padcaster Parrot Teleprompter app that you can get off your device's app store. Now, the first thing at the top of the box was a glass cleaning kit, and so you've got the cleaning kit here. It includes a little lightweight brush here to brush off dirt, and then the ever popular microfiber cloth that seems to come with just about every photography accessory that's out there right now. So that's the glass cleaning kit. The thing that makes this universally or nearly universally useful across a wide range of cameras is what's inside this little bag. And the bag includes these rings. Now these are all metal rings, and so they're plenty strong, and you can see they just all nest together, and they come in sizes, and they're labeled here on the back. So there's 37, 40 and a half, 43. Work your way up through larger and larger lens sizes. This one's 46, and the way these work then is that they just screw onto the lens threads on your camera, and this is what you're going to slide the Padcaster teleprompter onto. So let's pick out the ones that are going to work on the cameras I'm using, and I'll show you how that happens here in just a moment. The next thing that we find in the box is this Padcaster Parrot remote, and it's just a little Bluetooth remote. We'll take it out of the box here. It's just a little battery-powered remote in a little tray, along with some information on how to pair it to your, no pun intended, but how to pair it to your phone. And then this is the device itself. We'll just kind of snap it out of this little tray. On the back is the battery switch. It's got a little plastic thing that I've already removed to keep the contacts from happening during storage. It's got an on-off button here and then a connect button right there. And then as we work through this, then it's got buttons. The buttons left and right will move the script in the app up and down, and then these buttons to the right and to the left will cause the speed of the script to change. And so you can work with that. This will cause it to cycle through. And then this can be used for a number of things. I really haven't figured out what's happening here, maybe some Bluetooth camera control or something. But I think that where this will work the best is, in a standing position where you're talking kind of like your TV weatherman, and you can have this in your hand kind of down at your side, because the buttons do click a little bit, and so that might get picked up. For me, as I think I'll describe to you in a little bit, I use a Bluetooth keyboard that's a little less noisy, and it pairs fine to the Bluetooth app in my phone. So that's the Parrot remote. And then here is the Padcaster teleprompter itself. And so you can see it is not a very big device. This is my hand right here, and it's just basically the length of my fingers between the arc of my thumb and my main pointing finger. It's got a nice dust cover on the top that slides off easily, and so you can see some of the glass that's in there. Then on the sides, you grab the edges of the teleprompter device, you can pull this down, and that's where you're going to set your phone. So you can see that. I would recommend pulling it down from the edges. Some of the reviews have talked about this being a kind of thin plastic that you may damage if you pull down from the middle. It looks like Padcaster here in this version 2 has added a second piece of plastic across the top to give it a little more strength. But again, I think I'd pull from the side to get my phone into the Padcaster device. Having these covers to keep it clean is going to be a huge advantage. Across the back, then, you find a little piece of this thin plastic, and that's basically the backside dust cover, so you can pull that out, and it fits between one of the lens rings and the body of the Padcaster itself. That is very cool, because again, dust is going to make a difference to the light coming through your teleprompter and distorting your image. So having this is just a very nice feature. And then the ring sleeve itself just fits in there, and you just kind of pull it through. Now remember, these are metal, the Padcaster is plastic. There's a little bit of flexibility, but it snaps in there nice and tight. And we'll talk about that here in just a second when we talk about putting it on the camera. And so there is the Padcaster device itself. So let's take a look at how we might put this on the camera. Okay, so one of the cameras that I'm planning to use this Padcaster Parrot Teleprompter on is a Sony AX43 camera. It is a 55mm lens here in the front, so I have the 55mm. Let's see, so you see the label there, 55mm ring. And so what I'm going to do there is just kind of put this there on the beginning of these rings. Wait for the threads to catch and snug that up. So now I've got the ring on the front part of my camera in the threads for the lens, the same threads that you would use to put in a filter of some kind if you were filming with a filter like an ND filter, that kind of thing. Now the next thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to mount my phone in the Padcaster, because I want to limit the pressure that I'm going to be putting on the front part of my camera lens. And so I've got my phone here. I'm ready to do that. I would have the app on. In this case, I don't. So I'll take my dust cover off. I'll pull the little plastic tray down a little bit, stick my finger in there, slide my phone in, and then I can make some adjustments side to side. Plus in the app, I can make adjustments for the width of the words to fit between the two edges here of my Padcaster. So that's all there is to that. And so now at this point then, I'm going to take this over to bring my camera over and then slide that ring into the edges right here. And when I get to this point, it gets kind of firm. It wants to have a nice tight connection. So I'm going to apply some pressure here at the bottom of the ring to offset the downward pressure I'm putting on the Parrot itself, so that I can get it past that without putting too much pressure on the lens. And so we're just going to put my fingers underneath that, put my thumbs on top, and push down. And you heard that snap down on there. And so now we've got it set nicely. It'll rotate just a little bit, but again, the pressure in here is really pretty tight, which is what you want. You don't want light coming through, and you don't want the thing rotating. And so now I've got this set, and so you can look at it head on here. And so you can see that I've got my phone there. I've got the Padcaster mounted on the 55mm ring, and I'm ready to start using this camera with simply putting it on my tripod and getting the app fired up. Now let's take a look and put it on a DSLR with a different size ring. You'll see it goes together pretty much the same way. Okay, you can see in this shot that I have a Nikon D5600 DSLR type camera. It's got the let's see, the 18 to 55mm kit lens on it. It is a 52mm lens, and so I've got the 52mm mounting ring here in my hand. And again, I'm just going to set this on there and then get it started with the rings. Snug it up. So now I have my mounting ring there on the front of the camera. As before, I've just left the phone in the camera mount. If you're starting fresh, this is where I would put the phone in the mount again, just to give it the weight, the heft, and the final positioning here at one time when you mount it to your camera, because again, I want to limit the pressure I'm putting on the lens. And so, you know, pulling on the spring when it's on the camera is just something I'm going to try to avoid. And so let me turn this around for you. You see how this is going to be coming down. So it just kind of slides into that nice little track. We'll keep it straight up. And now I'm going to put my hands under the front of the lens, because I'm going to be putting some downward pressure here to get it past the little bump there, to get it to snap into the Padcaster itself. And so there I've got that mounted on. And I'm ready to go. You can provide a little bit of twisting on this to get this to be straight and level, but not very much, because again, this connection down here is nice and snug, which is what you want, but you just need to be aware that you're going to want to try to get it to where you want it the first time. So again, looking at it from the business end of the camera, you can see that the lens is right there. Again, use the Padcaster app, and you can change the width of the words to fit within the boundaries of the Padcaster device, or use another teleprompter app from your favorite app store to display the text from your app onto the glass as you do your recording. So that's what you get in the box, and that's how you put it on your cameras. So with that complete, let's take a look at the accompanying app. So here's a look at the app for the Parrot Teleprompter. It's available from your favorite app store. Just take a quick tour of the app here. When we click on the gear, we can move into the settings mode. And what we can do here then is change the font size here with this slider, or highlight this number and type it in. We can change the speed of the teleprompter, again using the slider or typing in the number. This one is kind of cool. This is where you change the margins. And so when you lay the phone on its side to give you the wide version, you can move this slider to have the words fall within the side-to-side limits of the teleprompter's box, so that you can easily see it, and you can keep it narrow enough to make your eye movements absolutely minimum, so people don't recognize that you're using a teleprompter. In the mirror mode, It reverses the text, which you'll have to do since you're reading the text off a mirrored glass. And then you can set a toggle. You can have the script loop back to the beginning, or you can lock the orientation of the phone. And so those are some of the things you can do in terms of operations. You can make changes to the background, the font color, and so forth. Now, one of the interesting things that I really like about this app is that you can sync it with Dropbox here at the top. And by doing that, you'll have the opportunity to type in your Dropbox credentials, and then the app will make a Parrot Teleprompter file folder in your Dropbox, which allows you to type up your scripts using your laptop or desktop computer with a nice full-size keyboard, and drop it into Dropbox, and then you can access the script itself through the app without having to email it to yourself or use the app to actually type in the script itself. So you can see here the teleprompter script I have here, I downloaded from the Dropbox, and that's the script for the review that you've been listening to. So if I click on that, I get it, and I can have the thing play. Again, the orientation's wrong because I'm using a screen recorder on my computer, but it would go side to side. You can see here that I don't use the full screen because I've made some changes to the width so that it falls within the box of the teleprompter itself. I'll stop and get out of that. You can also edit. In this case, I can delete the file or I can edit the file. If I strike edit, then here is the text, and I can work my way through it and make changes if I found a misspelling, or if I need to make a minor change because I didn't like the way something sounded. I could make that change using the little keyboard app within your phone to make that change. And then here is a icon representing a 3.5 inch floppy disk that would allow you to save the script. So here, after pressing the plus, I can enter a file name, I can enter my script using the keyboard on the phone or a Bluetooth keyboard. So if I wanted to generate the script from the app itself, I can do that, or again, download it from Dropbox. So that's pretty much it for the Parrot Teleprompter app itself. It's got a wide variety of controls, and the ability to link to Dropbox is very, very handy. As with any new accessory, I've got a bit to learn to ensure a smooth workflow. The app is a bit different from the one I've been using, and I've been using a full-size Bluetooth keyboard for control. Getting the scripts into the app is easy but different, and I'm going to have to teach myself some new button pushes when using the remote. Fortunately, my full-size Bluetooth keyboard works with the app too. After using this on some recordings, I find the controls are easy, just different, and the words on the glass are really easy to see, even from 6 to 8 feet away. What I really like is the compact size. It's much smaller than my old DIY prompter, so there's less opportunity to bump it. As I mentioned earlier, I think I'd mount the mounting ring to the camera and then mount the prompter to the camera. Be sure to provide some support to the camera and its lens when sliding the Parrot Teleprompter onto the mounting ring. This includes slipping the phone into the spring mount before placing it on the lens. It's not heavy, but you probably don't want to be pushing and tugging on the thing when attached to the camera's lens. At that point, you can mount everything to your tripod. The remote is okay and would work well in a standing position held to your side like your local TV weather person. When seated like this, I prefer my keyboard. I don't have a lot of time using the Parrot, but so far I've been pretty impressed. I've been using the Parrot for much of this review to give you a sense of eye movement when using the device. Hey, if you found this video helpful, please click the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Likes and subscriptions are important to the YouTube algorithm, so I really appreciate your taking those couple of extra seconds. Click the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks for watching.